He knew exactly what the audience was going to see. So every day I had to check in and go, what are you going to put here? What did you want to say visually that I need to pay homage to, or that I need to honor by not doing something or adding to it? You know, I never wanted to take away from what he was going to tell story-wise. I didn't want to chew up the scenery to, you know, have my moment.
And let's talk about your director. This movie had to be pulled off, I'm sure, with some military precision, with some of the scope of it. What was it like to watch a guy like that at work with so many things on his plate to keep a hold of?
Bewildering, you know. I have no idea how he does it, but he does, you know, there's obviously some process that goes on in there, and I have no idea how it works, and it just kind of churns out perfection in the end. And I think he was completely in his element. I think that he had a lot on his plate, of course, but I think he loves that, and I think he's very good at just sort of having all these factors around and bringing it down into this kind of perfect end product.
It was, some of the technical stuff in this movie is so staggeringly good, and it was very bold. He's one of those directors that's got his eye on everything all the time. You know, from the pre-production meetings, I'm going to talk about various little props I've got. He's there. No, yes, got to be like this. Every detail he wants to know. And you look at his films and they have a very rich world. They're very full. They're not sort of simplistic. His canvases that he does his shots in are very full. It's crammed full of sort of human detail. To take on, you know, shots of that length in environments like that and go for them in one. I remember the most shocking was when he told me he wanted to do the whole birth scene in one shot. From the minute we enter the room to the baby coming out, and I was like, the guy's crazy. It's like, that is crazy, but he was bold.
He just won, and I know
Who won?
you. Alfonso Cuaron from Gravity, and I know you.
Alfonso won?
Yeah!
Yeah, that's my man.
What do you think?
That's good. He's a friend of mine.
I know.
I was hoping for Gravity. I was hoping he'd get it. I mean, not that the other nominees aren't great, and Marty Scorsese's long overdue, you know, but I'm glad Alfonso won.
Thank you very much.
He approached me when he'd just written the script to figure out how to do it, and I tried to help him, but he didn't listen to anything I said. He did it his own way, which is great. But you know, he showed me the film before almost anybody'd seen it, and I said, dude, this is the best picture I've ever seen. It's amazing.
He's a genius like you.
Yeah. What's that?
What do you give to Alfonso?
Advice for Alfonso?
Yeah.
I didn't talk to him before tonight. I figured he knew what to do.
One of the first things that Alfonso did when we met him was he set us an essay to write about our characters, and he wanted us to write about, you know, why does your character do the things that she does, what motivates her, what scares her, you know, why does she say this? Really think about her in depth, and I really think it comes through in this third one, not just for Hermione but for all three of us. I think it's much more personal, and I think you see different sides to all of the characters, so it's good.
Sure. Alfonso, I've known Alfonso for a while, for a number of years, in which we did other conversations together. Was he the reason you went into filmmaking?
I guess I went, you know, you always try to run away from your parents' footsteps, but then
So how'd you get it wrong?
At some point you realize that, like, you know, you've been bombarded by it your whole life, so it's kind of like, it comes natural to you.
And I was disappointed when he told me that. Well, basically I was in London with my dad, and I showed him another script that I had written. And he read the script. I asked him to give me notes, and you know, instead of giving me notes, it ignited a conversation between me and him about the possibility of being able to do films where on the one hand you had non-stop thrilling suspense, where like the audience for 90 minutes would be grabbed to the edge of their seats. But on the other hand, like, you could also like juggle thematics and engage the audience on an emotional level.
He's a great writer, so our relationship is two writers working together. When we're working together, I get to hang out with him more often.
Have you seen Roma yet? Since
Yes,
this is Netflix.
it's incredible. It's incredible. If you haven't seen it, it is extraordinary. And I'm not saying it because I worked with a guy. It is such beautiful storytelling. I literally thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown when I left. It was so emotional. I was like, I need to go home. I just need to go home and be with my kids. I just need to just like, he DP'd.
Yeah, first
He
time.
did, yeah.
Oh,
Did.
for a major feature. Yeah.
But he's always sort of got his fingers in there. Ask Chivo. Chivo's like, but it's absolute. It makes you feel like you had the memories that he had. It's that beautifully done.
Yeah, I agree.
Alfonso has already directed a couple of films, and he was the guy. So I came to LA, that he was living here, and I visited him, and he was so generous. So we became friends through the craft of filmmaking. The funny thing is that we never established a competition between us, because I think, fortunately, we are so differently, we are very different in styles and things. So in a way, we always compensate points of views and thing, and has been a beautiful journey of affection, personal affection, and at the same time sharing our craft, and we are merciless with one to each other. It's very truthful and sometimes hurtful. You present the script and they can destroy you, but you never take it personally, because that's the rule, no mercy. Yeah. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing something, and I have to trust whoever is viewing that. And I'm not talking that has to be an expert or somebody very savvy about it. I think it's a combination. You have to choose who are your allies, and this has to come, that's the way I think. It has to come from the right place, which is the heart, that there is no another agenda or jealousy or whatever. Something that can interrupt. And I'm not saying this badly. We are human, so a lot of emotions can be navigating. So something that it comes from the right place. And at the same time, it's gonna demand the best of you. So like a mentor, right? Nobody will teach you nothing about your film. It's, I think, the role that we have when somebody has the confidence and put the trust in you to see that and observe it. It's a big responsibility, but always what I think is my responsibility and what I demand from my friends is to bring the best of me. Not that they will add something, is how I can get the best of me. And that's a very difficult task. They have to know you. What are you capable, or what are you hiding, what you are afraid of? It's a complicated, it's not a taste or like, oh, I like it or not. It's not like that. I don't care if you like it or not. It's a deep reflection of it.
It's a film about, it comes 90% of Alfonso's memories of his childhood. So it's the story of Cleo, who is the domestic worker at Sophia's house. That's my character, and Nancy's character Adela works in that house. And it's a family that's gonna fall apart. And Cleo is gonna have her own journey, and Sophia her own journey, and the children their own. But in the end, they're gonna learn who is the real family.
El mejor recuerdo es cuando la señora Sofía reúne a toda la familia y como encuentra esa fortaleza para decirles a los niños lo que está pasando.
Cuando Cleo regresa de las vacaciones y la veo fuerte, o sea, recuperada. Fue increíble para mí porque, para empezar, yo no sabía, ni en sueños tenía hacer un proyecto así. Ahora trabajar al lado de Alfonso, que me ayudara, que me animara, que me motivara, que sacara lo mejor de mí, eso creo que fue increíble.
Bueno, para mí fue maravilloso conocer esta otra cara del cine. Desconocía todo el proceso que lleva y fue una gran oportunidad que se me presentó, y el hecho de conocer también a Alfonso, que es una persona con un gran corazón y que te motiva a realizar las cosas.
Well, for me it was a really transforming experience because I was the only actress in the cast. I was working with non-actors, and contrary to what you could think, it was me the one that had to get in the mood that they were all working, and that was difficult at the beginning. It was really challenging, and Alfonso was asking me to not think as an actress but as a character, and I think this sounds easy, but it's not.
Que no ignore todos esos mensajes que da, que es la igualdad de género, raza, clase social, y también muchos problemas políticos que hay, como el oprimir a los estudiantes, como que queden esos mensajes para la sociedad.
I started with Alfonso 14 years ago as an intern in his company, and then, as you said, his personal assistant. And how I came to become his producer, I think it's just by surviving him for 14 years and staying around. And for me, this was an amazing challenge, not only because we shot the movie in continuity. We shot for over 20 weeks. He wrote a beautiful script that he did not share with any of us, not the crew, not the actors, nobody. So it was a challenge. And on top of it, it's a very personal story for Alfonso. It's based on his memories. From 1970 to 1971 when he was a small child. And we had to recreate not only, Mexico City of that era, but also Alfonso's memories of his home, his family life, the way he dressed and everything. And not only am I obviously not from 1970, 71, but I'm also Venezuelan. So that one for me was a bit of an additional challenge to the rest of the crew that were all Mexicans. And as for Yalitza, Alfonso always liked to say that he didn't find her because she wasn't lost, that she was always there and we just kind of met her. The casting process involved going to, I think, like 5 or 6 different communities all over, or states, I guess, all over Mexico. And our casting director met with over 3,000 women before we met Yalitza.